WJR.
Well, W, back with you as the People Mover goes by, just on, perfectly planned, just as we rehearsed it earlier. We're here at Cobo Center. It's the 2008 North American International Auto Show, of course, and you're wise enough to not just listen to us at 760 on the AM dial, but also coming here to WJR.com by the millions and checking out some of our web exclusives. And I'm very happy to say this web exclusive right now includes Elliot Shiner, who is the man, the voice, the heart, the soul of this great system I've been telling you about from Panasonic Automotive, the ELS surround system. As I've said a million times to my listeners, he is the ELS.
Thanks, Paul.
You know, and I never noticed it. Where's your name tag thing? Because I want to see if, in fact, they didn't put the L on there. See, and as a Smith, I always have the W, Paul W. Now that you are a sound system, there should never be an Elliot Shiner. It should be Elliot L. Shiner. He's ELS. What would these people do without me coming up with these brilliant ideas? If I keep hitting my head like that, there you are.
I'll make them.
Put the L on there, for goodness sakes. You are ELS. And let me tell you something else. Since last we spoke with Elliot, which was a few years ago.
Yes.
At an auto event, we were like out in the lobby somewhere.
I think it was SAE.
It may have been SAE. A lot has happened. He is up for another Grammy this year, and you know whether they have the Grammys or not. I mean, the awards show because of the writer's strike. You're still up for that Grammy, and you'll still get that Grammy. You know what I mean? You've gotten Grammys before, but it never get tired of getting Grammys.
No, you don't.
Never,
no.
Ever. Also, since we were last together, Elliot got another Emmy. So I don't know how many Emmys that is, but it's a few. And
actually, that was my first.
What?
Yes.
I've been calling you Emmy award winning.
Well,
maybe I made it happen to make the commercial legal. I swear I've said Emmy award winning. Elliot Shiner.
Yeah, and I have. It wasn't this year. I won about 2 years ago.
Oh, okay, all right, okay. So, all right. So, but that's right. It's been that long. And what was that one for?
It was for an Eagles live broadcast on NBC from Melbourne, Australia.
Eagles and Elliot. That's a good combination.
Yeah, it's been a good one.
Yeah.
This year's been especially good.
Well, with the Long Road Out of Eden now, selling millions and millions of, I can't help it, I have to say albums. I know they're not albums.
I'm with you.
I don't know what they're calling them for what they're supposed. You say albums too?
I say albums.
Good for you. Well, then I'm very comfortable with saying albums then. But you worked on that thing for about 3 years, and it's a smash hit, but there's a great story. Remember, I've been saying in my commercials on WJR for Panasonic Automotive and ELS Surround Sound that Elliot had this need to, because he's spending time in his car, he wanted to create a sound system that would be just about as good as a studio quality sound system. So that, like, you're in the studio with the musicians as it's happening. Well, guess what? He did better than a studio sound system. Tell the story about putting that album together and how the car and the ELS surround system came into play.
Well, typically what we do, and this has been going on for as far back as I can remember, when we'd start to finish mixing, we'd always go out to a car, whether it was a cassette or a CD or whatever. We'd always go out to a car to listen, see how it was going to translate over the radio. And this has been no different with the Eagles. When we finished the first mix, we all went out back to the parking lot, and there were a lot of high-ticket cars. And Joe Walsh owned a brand new RDX and
Acura RDX.
And Acura loaned me an RDX specifically for that purpose. So we all went out to our separate vehicles. We came back into the control room, and everybody had completely differing opinions of what was right, what was wrong. So Joe says, let's go out and all listen in the RDX. And we went out, and the guys were just totally blown away that the reproduction between the control room and the car was so accurate. And everybody came back in, and we all were of the same mind. And the rest of the album, there were another 19 songs after that, we all ended up mixing it that way.
Isn't that amazing that a sound system in an automobile from Panasonic Automotive that you would actually go out and listen to it? And the reason that the reason they would go and listen on on car radios is because that's where most people were going to at that time hear the mix. So you're in a studio and the speakers are huge and beautiful and everything sounds fabulous. What's it going to sound like when it comes through one of these 50-cent speakers that they used to use in cars? They don't anymore, really. And to then find out that you're in that thing with the ELS surround and you say, this is the way we want to mix this thing, this is the way this has got to be done, is an amazing story. It truly is. The thing that I'm concerned about, and I say all the time, Elliot, is we got to get this sound system in more cars. It's got to be made available on more cars.
I got to tell you, I mean, I've only been in the music industry for, it's been my whole life. And now in the past few years, I'm working in automotive, and it's mind-boggling to me how long it takes for people to make decisions. I mean, we've done so many demos for so many companies, and it just goes on and on and on.
It does take a long time to make changes. And there's a lot that goes into any change, even a little change. There are repercussions and ripples that go on for miles. Yeah. So it does take time. But the fact of the matter is, as people hear this, when they get into a friend's Acura and they hear it, then they're going to talk more about it, and they're going to say, when they go to a car dealer, I really want a good sound system. Can't you get this for me? And if they hear enough word of mouth, that's one way it's going to happen, because it's going to get to be more competitive than ever in selling these cars. And all these features are going to be meaningful. Let me ask a question that maybe, I know this is Panasonic Automotive, but what about this system in the house, in our homes? What about this kind of system in our homes? See, I don't work for Panasonic. You do work for Panasonic, but it's not the only thing you do. Yeah. So, I mean, we have other jobs. I'm not trying to upset anybody. I'm just asking for the general interest of my listeners and viewers. What about that?
I'm working on it.
Okay.
I am working on it. It's been a project for a couple of years now.
Okay.
It's difficult to, do a system. With the car, you're in a fixed seating position.
Right.
Speakers are fixed. In the home system, it's completely different.
I think a car is, I said this to Dr. Amer Bose many years ago. I was interviewing him while driving in maybe a Cadillac or something for a promotion, interviewing him and having the Bose system on. And we talked about the car, the environment in a car. You always know what it's going to be. Every house is different. Every other environment is different. So in the car, you can really optimize and make it the best.
It's the perfect situation. I worked on most of the Steely Dan records. And when I started mixing those records in surround sound, both the guys were sort of like lukewarm on the whole idea of, well, we're going to be so exposed having our music all around like that. And they let it go, but they weren't really happy about it until they got in a TL. And when they sat in the TL and heard what this whole thing was about, they said, I totally understand.
Yeah.
This is so cool.
But it ruins you. Then you climb back in your own car, and no matter what kind of a system you have, you don't have the Panasonic surround system, and it's completely different.
Well, thank you. That really means a lot to me from you.
Well, I'm just telling you that, you have these headphones on for nearly 40 years. Your hearing is not so good, and yet you do hear even more clearly than the normal hearing people things that are important in radio or in coming out of the radio.
Yes.
So I really do hear clearly when I sit in there with the ELS surround system. I hear everything that was supposed to be heard, which you can't on a regular system.
Right.
You just can't. And that's why each piece of music, your old favorites, sound like a whole new song.
That's right. That's exactly right.
All right, Elliot. Boy, it's nice seeing you. Good luck with everything you're working on.
Thank you so much.
I hope you get that Grammy.
Thank you.
And I know you have the Emmy now. And you got the Eagles out there. Been working on that for 3 years, and it's a huge success. I can't think of anything else I need to bring up unless you have anything else.
No, I'm good.
All right. Now, we'll have to go and talk to especially that woman who gave me that look when I started talking about the home stuff. I meant no disrespect or harm. I was just asking a question that I think people at home would wonder about. Gee, this sounds like a great system. I'd like to get it not just in my car, but maybe in my home.
Thank you. Yeah, I agree with you.
Elliot Shiner. And see, by tuning in to WJR.com, breaking stories, big-time celebrities, and me. You go on out, make it a great rest of the day. I'll see you in the radio from 5:30 to 9 at 760 on the AM dial. Regards, Paul W. Smith.